So now we will take a look at the manifest file for progressive web apps. It is the one of the most important components in the making of a PWA application. So by the end of this presentation, we'll be able to learn like the manifest file and its context in terms of progressive web apps. And we will also learn about some properties which we can put in the manifest file. So what is a manifest file? Manifest file is used in like most of the web-based applications. It is also used in some DevOps technologies, but in terms of PWA, it is like a way to communicate to the browser that what all things we want to tell the browser about how our progressive web app should look like when it's opened in a mobile device or tablet, and there are like many more properties also that we can provide in the manifest file. So we'll look at some properties. So this is a minimum set of properties that we should include while creating a progressive web app, such as name, short name, start URL, display background color, theme color, orientation, and icons. So name, short name, and description, these are called as identity properties. If we open our browser and inspect the PWA and we go to the applications tab, in the manifest tab, we'll see that these properties come under the identity properties. So name is basically the name of our progressive web app. And if the name is too big, we can also provide a shorter version of the name, which is which we can give through the short name property. And there's also a description property in which we can describe our progressive web app, what is its functionality and what it can be used for. So the other set of properties are the presentation properties. So it contains start URL. So basically it's the entry point of our progressive web app. So basically like our index.html is mostly the entry point of the web application. So we can define it, or we can define some other page, home page as well for this. And the theme color. So the color we want to display on the UI elements that we should define in the theme colors property. Then there is background color. So while our app is loading, whichever color we want to show while the app is starting, we can provide it in the background color property. So the display presentation property will understand some things about it. So display presentation properties has like four main categories of display. One is the full screen. So if we want our progressive web app to take the size of the entire screen of whichever device it's loaded on, so we will use the full screen property for it, full screen value for it. And there's other standalone. So if we want our progressive web app to look like a native mobile application, then we use the standalone property. And then there is minimal UI. So it will display the web app with a minimal set of user interface elements such as navigation and that sorts of elements. And then there is browser. So if we set the display to browser, then our PWA will look like just like a website. It will show all the components or UI elements of a web browser alongside our progressive web app. So there is another display property which is called as orientation. Uh, it also has the multiple set of values that we can provide. So any is like if we give the orientation property as any, it will basically display our application on this size of the screen. It will fill the screen entirely. And then there is natural. Natural is basically the default orientation of your web browser, and it will adapt according to the web browser's size. Then there is portrait. Portrait is basically a vertical display mode where height is greater than width of your progressive web app UI. Then there is portrait primary. This will actually lock your PWA display or orientation in the vertical mode. So it will not flip your application when your auto rotate of your mobile device is on. Then there is portrait secondary. It's same as portrait mode, but it is inverted, so you'll see your application upside down. Then there is landscape mode. So suppose if you are developing a game and you want to use PWA for it, in that use case, you can basically use the landscape mode. So it will basically be the width of your application more than the height of your application. And then there is similar to primary and secondary portrait, there are primary and secondary landscapes, in which like you, if you set landscape primary, it will lock the app uh, in the landscape mode, and it will not rotate if your auto rotate of your device is on. Then there is a landscape secondary, which will flip your landscape orientation, and you will see the app actually upside down. So then there is icons property. So when we are creating an app, we usually see there is an icon for the application. So those icons we can set in the icons property. So the value for it will be an array of image elements, and the image elements will be basically the relative path to the images in your directory which you set. And we should actually give multiple image sizes, because your PWA can either work on desktop, tablet device, or a mobile device. So you need one image size for each of the device. Then there is a screenshot property. So you see in when we install a Android application, there is a screenshot, like two or three screenshots of the application, so that a user can get a sense of how your uh, mobile application looks. A similar way we can display it for PW as well using the screenshot property, and the value for it will also be an array of image elements, where we set the value as, or the element as, the relative part to the image in your directory. So it was an overview of manifest file, and please keep in mind that these are the minimum set of properties that we can set for a PWA. There are more properties for it, and actually we can see it on the WebMD and docs. There is a comprehensive documentation for each of the property that we can set for a progressive web application. Thank you.